And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Small Biz Matters, the half-hour program where you work on your business rather than in it. My name is Alexi Boyd, and I'm very excited to be welcoming a very special guest today, Jeff Anderson from Sonic Site. Now, I'm going to get straight into it today because I imagine this program is going to be absolutely jam-packed full of really fantastic information, not just from the perspective of Jeff and the journey that he's gone on as a business owner, but also what we're going to impart, the knowledge that we're going to give our listeners today, particularly those in small business who are giving some thought to their marketing strategy. Now, let's face it, marketing is not something that a lot of us have a strength in. We make our widgets. We are a consultant in whatever it is that we do. We have our specialism, and marketing is just not it. It's kind of like wearing that creative hat when you're not in that spectrum. So we're hoping that today is going to be a little bit of a cheat sheet, and it's all going to be all about video content. Now, video content is no longer just this element that's relegated to the back rooms, the back lot of the AV rooms, the dark rooms where people used to work, and these guys wearing black used to sit there and do all their editing with the cutting and the pasting. No, it's not that anymore. It's a very accessible technique for small business. It can be done very well, but like all things, it can also be done quite badly. I'm sure Jeff's going to share some anecdotes of businesses that he's brought into the present as opposed to back in the 80s with some pretty crappy videos. In fact, do you remember Gruen Transfer a few weeks ago or a couple of seasons ago? They would show the worst regional videos and they were all the worst videos from the 80s highlighting businesses, and it just doesn't make a business look good, does it?
No, good morning. Thanks, Alexi, for having me on board. And I've often said to people, you're better off to not show a video than to show one which damages your brand, because it, just doesn't reflect you in the best light. If it looks amateur, looks poor quality, you're better off just to, let them know who you are another way. Leave
it to the experts, or exactly find a different way of marketing yourself. So we're going to be covering a little bit about different ways that you can market yourself using video content, and also the different ways that video content can help grow your business, not just necessarily in the marketing sphere. But take me through your journey first, Jeff, because I think yours is a very interesting one and a very powerful story because, like most of us, we are searching for that elusive work-life balance. We're trying to find a way to make our businesses fit into our lives and enjoy our lives at the same time as feeling fulfilled with a business. And I think you might have actually managed to do that. I think
it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, exactly. So let's talk about your journey, because I think you are a successful business owner and you're happy with where you are now. How long have you been in business exactly?
It's 25 years this year, Alexi. And I tell people I've taken 25 years to grow a very small business. Mm-hmm. I've deliberately kept it small. I've had opportunities along the way to ramp it up, and I thought, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want the extra stress, the extra expenses, the extra dramas, which are going to end up with less time, less profit. And I thought, no, I want to be able to enjoy the ride. I want to have time for family, for my partner. And I've kept it small and manageable. And I've seen other friends who over the years have gone and build their business up and then brought it right back down again because they've gone through all these dramas and it's just been stressful and manic. So I started out 25 years ago. My business partner was the technical director at Channel 9. Now, I didn't have any video expertise at that point.
Oh, so you were the creative. Were you
I guess I was.
That's business development guy.
Well, I was all of that. I also had actually done a stint at the State Bank of New South Wales and had been a commercial loans officer there while we were building up another business. So I was soaking up all these tips about what was required to make a business successful, because if we were lending money to these businesses, we wanted to know that they had all their ducks lined up. Mm-hmm. And so I was learning about, cash flow. I was learning about profit over turnover, that, people get excited about how much money they're making, but if you're not actually getting profit along the way, it's all for naught. Mm. So, and also having a broad client base. So these were things that I sort of latched onto as I built my business, and I was able to bring that into Sonic Site. And over the years, we've just sort of kept ticking along. Tim, my business partner, actually we first met or got to know each other doing community radio at Burwood.
Hey.
way back in the early 90s.
It's another big tick for community radio, networking opportunities.
Indeed. And so, I think we sort of found a bit of a bit of bonding there, and thought, we could see what could go from there. So, we built up the business, and it took me a while. So Tim was originally doing all the technicalities of video production, and I was doing some of the creatives. I was coming up with concepts. I was talking to clients. And then over time, I got to be a bit more hands-on with the equipment. And after about 10 years or so, I was actually filming, I was editing, I was directing and producing and writing scripts. But I still felt like a bit of an imposter. I felt like I haven't gone to university. I haven't studied like Tim did and like other people in the industry have done. And who am I to be doing this? But then I started to realise, well, I could probably teach this stuff at university. So maybe I just need to go with it and just accept that actually I do know what I'm doing. So I kept going. Then after about 20 years, that's when I wrote my book. So that was...
that's when you really positioned yourself as the expert.
Well, it was. It was at a time I did a course, a Key Person of Influence course, which was all about increasing your profile. I'd been running my business for 19 years at that point, and it needed to be reinvigorated. It was going along, but it was sort of like, nothing really exciting was happening. So I could see we were just on the verge of other people waking up to the power of video. Internet was getting faster. People could see that they could use video. And I'd been doing it for decades. But I thought, okay, now's the chance to really leverage that. So I wrote a book where I just did a brain dump of all the information I could give to people who wanted to make videos. And, just sort of put it all there, all the steps and processes you need to be aware of as you're making videos so that other people could do it.
It's an interesting journey, yours. You mentioned Sonic Sight. Was it the name of the business right at the beginning as well?
It was, yeah.
Wow, so you've actually hung on to that name and you've been comfortable with that name, because I know that a lot of people, when they go through sort of as their business goes into new phases, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, they decide to change the brand, the name, the look, the feel. Is there a reason why you stuck with that? Was it because you really just liked it at the beginning, or because you had developed a bit of a relationship with your client base that you didn't want to change it and confuse?
Look, I think part of it was building a brand, building a reputation. My reputation for my business has always been critical. If I had an unhappy client, I would rather sort out their problems and give them a refund than, for them to be going around saying they had a bad experience. So not that traditionally happens, but that's the way I've approached it. I've always been very focused on maintaining the reputation of the business. There have been times where we've looked at other products and other, pivots with the business, but what I've done in that case is I've called that a different product. So we were doing some training there for a while. We called that Video Production Studio, and we had a website for that, but it was still under the Sonic Sight umbrella. So look, at the end of the day, you're the only one who cares about your name. The customers don't care. They just go to whatever it is, and it makes it easier for them to find me if it's the same name that's been around for 25 years. I think people get so caught up about their logos and all these other things, and people really don't care. And that's the kind of conversation I have to have with companies sometimes when we're doing work, and we've got to have the logo on for 10 seconds at the start of the video. I said, no, you really don't. Yeah. Because after 3 seconds, they've clicked away and they're watching something else.
Content is king.
It's just you've got to respect who your audience is and what's of interest to them. And I've changed my logo a couple of times, 3 times I think, over those 25 years. But kept it simple. So
the main reason why you decided to do that, and we're all quite familiar with that KPI program, and the main reason why you might wanted to do it was literally to reinvigorate or to find a way of tapping into what you saw as a niche?
Well, I realised there was a lot of value I could see that they were going to provide in the program. I actually happened to be there because they paid me to be there to film the event. So I was at the back of the hall filming this one-day event where they were basically promoting what they do and
showcasing,
giving some great value information. And they were talking about the benefits of it. You can earn more money, you charge more when you've got this profile in a particular niche. And I thought, well, I wouldn't mind earning a bit more money. So, I put my hand up and went along, and they went, oh, yeah, great, good. And I think it was the right time. People were just starting to wake up to the power of video. And so it was like I had 20-odd years of experience there I could leverage from and showcase, and so it put me in the right spot at the right place.
So what sort of skills did you bring across? You've obviously been in corporate world. You were working with most likely agencies and the big guys, and then what skills did you bring in that journey from distilling that and all that information and knowledge that you had to small business? Because you're very passionate about empowering small business and giving them the knowledge to be able to do it themselves. That's one of the ways that you position yourself as the expert. How did you bring all that that skills and that expertise down? And I don't want to say dumb it down, but how do you make it?
Well, it's
accessible?
not difficult because I'm already a small business owner. I know all the issues, all the challenges that a small business has. So being able to talk to other small businesses at that level was a no-brainer for me. I had a great stint for about 4.5 years at BNI, at one of the most successful chapters in Sydney, and have some wonderful friends who are doing great things with their small businesses at various levels. Some are quite bigger operations, and others are smaller. But look, for me, it was easy to position myself in their space because that was what I do. But in regards to sharing my knowledge, for me, I realised I needed to increase my profile, and that was part of the training that I got from this KPI course. And I always struggled with sending out newsletters because I thought, why do people want to hear about me and what I'm doing? And I had a real blockage about that marketing approach but then when I shifted to saying, well, actually, how can I be helpful and useful to people? What can I give people rather than saying, hey, this is what Sonic Site's doing, you should buy our services. It was more like, hey, if you're using video, these are ways to make it work for you. And so I started shifting the whole messaging about buying from me to, hey, this is some helpful advice that I'm happy to share and give. And that was and I was very comfortable with that. And that was a really easy way for me then to, get more information out to my community. As
an expert in communications, would you agree that a lot of there's been a big shift in the way people advertise themselves into that realm, instead of being there, look at me, look at my latest clients, look what I'm producing, versus, hey, here's some of my knowledge, why don't you take some of this expertise and run with it? Do you think there's a generalised shift to the difference in way small businesses advertise themselves? I think so, yeah. And I think, there's a place for everything. I mean, there's a place for a promotional message where it's saying, hey, this is what we can do for you. But that's got to be engaging for people to stay with it. But if it's useful knowledge, more people are going to watch it, and that's where you can build up a community. You can build up an audience where people are tuning in more regularly because they know they're going to get something useful when they do it rather than just being sold to. Look, we're going to take a quick break here on Small Biz Matters, and when we come back after the break, we're going to talk a little bit more to Jeff in relation to what some great tips you can do to produce your own video content for your small business, and when you should engage with a professional. You are listening to Triple H 100.1 FM. We will be back after this. So today we are talking all about video content, and we're learning from an expert, Jeff from Sonic Site. Thank you very much for joining us once again here on Small Biz Matters.
It's a pleasure.
Now, just before the break, we were talking about your business journey and how over 25 years, I love your expression where you've taken 25 years to build a very small business, but you've done that deliberately and carefully and with consideration for not just the business but for yourself as well. One of the things we were talking about in the break was niching and the importance of understanding how that can really make or break things. Can you explain that a little bit more in terms of your experience?
Sure.
And how you kind of packaged all that up. You've got the book, you've got the 25 years of experience, you've got the building up businesses and bringing them back down again. But why is niching so important to factor into all of that?
Look, for a long time, I was under the impression that it was important to have a broad client base because that's what I learned at the bank, which it is, but it doesn't mean you can't have a niched market. And a lot of people get uncomfortable with the idea of focusing their energy in a particular niche because they feel like they're going to exclude all these other opportunities that are out there. Now, in the last 3.5 years, I've focused my energy on the private school market. They need a lot of videos made. They've actually got decent budgets. And it's taken a good 3 years, but I'm now really seeing the results of that. So I'm getting a lot of my work is now coming from private schools, but I've got about 20 of them. So I do have a broad client base there. But what also is happening is I'm still getting work from the other places I used to get it from. The government organisations, my past clients, they don't know or care that I'm focusing a lot of attention on a particular niche. They still refer work to me. I still get those jobs coming in. Okay, but from a practical point of view, I can see in the 3 years journey how that's benefited you, but making that decision in the beginning where you go, I'm going to devote X amount of my time to growing this part of the business that I believe will be successful, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's a big risk, is it not? And I think a lot of small businesses are risk adverse because we're sensible and clever with our time and our money. How did you make the leap of faith? Was it really like I believe in myself, I know that this is the right thing to do, or did you just go, I'm just going to give this a go and then I'm going to niche this way?
The latter answer is...
So you got lucky.
I did, but yes and no. But what I did was I also niched in other sectors at the same time that weren't as successful.
Okay.
So I didn't just throw everything into the school market. I also said, all right, I'm over at North Ryde. I'm going to focus on the North Ryde business community as well, and I'll see if I can develop some more opportunities there, just because of locality as a niche.
How did you do it? How did you... Okay, I know this is from one business's perspective, but... Did you literally say, okay, 20%, 1 day a week, I'm going to dedicate to meeting with people, talking to people, finding out what they need? I just want to know the practicalities.
Yeah, sure.
of
No,
it.
I'll tell you. So what happened was I was already working with a few schools, doing concerts and some other videos. And one of them said to me, hey, you should get involved with this association called Educate Plus, which basically has all of the administrative levels of the school people in there. So the fundraising managers, the marketing managers, the enrolment managers. It's not the principals, it's not the teachers, but it's very much this sector of the schools that I needed to speak to. And so I went along to their conference, and then I became a sponsor. Then I got mingling with them. I turned up at their events. So I basically that particular association was the real key for me.
And that's the 3 years of hard work, the association, the talking, the networking, the sponsorship.
Yeah.
A bit of risk involved with that.
That was, yeah. But I could see, wow, this is actually brilliant, because this group is exactly who I need to be talking to. And so I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. I'll just focus some time and energy and resources into this. So I just went to the conference. I got a referral from that, which ended up becoming a great 3-year client that I've had now. Then I've got more clients from that. Then I sponsored the association. I got to speak at the conference last year. I'm going to speak at the conference this year. So
you're really grabbing all those opportunities that they give you in a nutshell.
Yeah, and what happens though, and now that I'm really seeing it come to fruition, I'm seeing, there's opportunity here. I'm seeing the benefits of it. What's really important about this is it makes it easier for me to work out what's worth me spending my time on. There's a whole lot of busy, distractive things that we can get caught up in.
Go on, say Facebook.
Oh, no, that's important.
Yeah.
I haven't quite detoxed off that yet.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of, different things that we think we should do or try or market or whatever. But now that I can see where the return on investment is coming from, it makes it so much easier for me to think, you know what, writing that extra blog on LinkedIn isn't necessarily going to help me get more of my school clients. Picking up the phone and ringing that marketing manager at that school that I've already spoken to in the past, who I just see has another project coming up, that would be a better use of my time.
Yeah.
Because I've got a much better angle there to go with. I've already got presence and profile in the sector. And, it's a much easier conversation to have with them.
And you were in business how long before the concept of niching really started to kick in?
I had been thinking about niching for a long time, but hadn't been able to work out where to niche. And I think what you were saying before about throwing all your eggs in one basket is a great point, because I think you've got to try a few different things, but you do have to put a bit of effort into them to see what's going to come to the fore. And then eventually you get to the point you say, hey, this one's working. Let's start focusing more on this one and see where it goes.
Because I want our listeners to be gentle with themselves, because I know a lot of them out there are listening and they might have only been in business for a few years. You've done the journey between corporate to where you are now. Be kind. Don't expect that something's just going to fall in your lap, and don't expect that you're going to make the right decision. It is a little bit of trial and error and putting your eggs in one basket that doesn't necessarily work. But I think you also need to be smart enough to recognise when something's not working and pull away from it and not dedicate any more time to it and not flog a dead horse, essentially.
Yeah, and sometimes it may be just the timing's not right. So don't necessarily burn your bridges with it. Put it to the side and focus on other things. But like for me, I have done school videos over the 25 years at different stages. So I do have a lot of those to, call back on. When I was ready to launch myself, I thought, well, actually, yeah, I've got a dozen different school videos.
You've got
I've
some
done.
content,
already there. Just don't be too hard on yourself. Try it and see how it evolves.
Now let's talk a little bit about the logistics and the practicalities of using video in your business. I know during the break you were saying that there's sort of two main strands. There is, of course, using video for marketing purposes and for advertising your wares and what you do, et cetera, in a very pure advertising sense. And then there's also video for becoming an expert in your field and making it educational or being, how did you describe it, business.
Well, I think video has moved on from just being just a marketing tool to very much being a business communication tool. It's more than just...
What's the difference?
Well, the difference is marketing, you're sort of like promoting, selling. Communication is just like, we're letting our audience know, our community know this is what's happening, this is what's going on. It's just the preferred medium for people to get information. So whatever information you're putting out there, it could be video, and that's where we're shifting. So in the past, it used to be, we need a promotional video which showcases our business in the best light and does all this, and now it's just like, we need to tell our community that we're going to be closed next weekend or whatever. You could do it on a video, whatever it is. And I mean, everything is marketing, isn't it? Marketing is everything, and everything is marketing. So the invoice you send out is marketing. How you put your logo, that's all. How you answer the phone, that's marketing. All of it is marketing. So these days, video is just a wonderful tool that you have that can be used in a variety of ways. And I think just thinking it's a marketing tool is limiting how you can use it effectively.
So give me an example of a small business that you might have worked with that use video content really successfully. Because for me, I'm thinking practicalities. Do I go with Facebook? Do I go with LinkedIn? How do I shoot the video? The message, I think, is a bit more organic. It's whether or not you want to be imparting knowledge or telling people what you're doing or even telling them that you're shutting on Sunday, like you said. But it's where do I post it? How do you make those sort of business decisions as a small business owner?
Well, it always comes down to what's the purpose of the video and who your audience is. So depending on that will direct you. It may be appropriate to post it on a whole range of different platforms, but they might be slightly different in how you do that and what you do. In regards to an example of a small business owner, there's a couple that actually, Patio Land Hornsby, we've made some videos for them in the past, and that was just a rapport building video. So it was Adrian, the owner, talking about what he does, what he loves about it, how he enjoys bringing the outside in, or the inside out, whatever it is, for outside living for families. And people watched that video, and the feedback I got from him was they said, we felt we could trust you. We'd seen your video, we liked you, and we felt comfortable. And he's a lovely guy. And I think they were able to pick that up on the video, that this is someone that we feel comfortable to build, extend our home and provide the patio. So there's another chap, Edward Zia, who everybody knows.
Yep. I know that lovely Edward. I'm not a fan of his video content, I must say. I find it a bit dizzying. And I was actually going to bring that up, not necessarily naming names, but just talking about the way that he shoots his videos. He does video content very well, and he really engages with the audience.
Every day or twice a day.
I know, and it's fantastic.
Just handheld phone stuff.
But he spins. Do you know? I don't know about you, but
he is an extremely energetic person.
He is, yes.
And I think that probably, supports his character.
But I was going to ask you about technically. What are some real don'ts if you're going to make your own videos? Because nowadays we've got the iPhones, we've got however many megabits per pixel, whatever. I don't know the technical terms.
4K.
But yeah, that one. But are there real no-nos when you're shooting videos of yourself?
Absolutely. The first one, regardless of whatever video.
Sorry, Edward, by the way, I do love your video content if you're listening.
We get some great gems from them.
Yeah.
But he's so persistent with it, and that's a great example of somebody, and he probably is, he's just gone over to speak over in America because of his profile with, and a big part of that is his regular video content. But some essentials when you're making video is, number one, this is unforgivable, is if you've got poor audio, okay? People focus on the vision and stuff, they get back in the edit suite and they can't use it because the audio, they've got trucks running through it, they've got children screaming, they've got planes overhead, or they just don't even have a microphone set up properly at all. It's not close enough to them to hear. I had one client send me a video and said, oh, look, we shot this ourselves, but... which happens these days, and I encourage people to shoot stuff themselves because they can. On the phones, you can get great quality stuff. but the cicadas are really loud. Is there anything you can do about it? And they haven't put proper microphones on. The people are too far away from the camera. And I just thought, I'm not even going to. And I thought, no, I can't do anything with this now because your audio was not recorded properly. There's no way we can hear these people over this racket of these cicadas, which are going nuts.
So does it need to be part of your arsenal? We've all got a phone, so we've got that ticked. But I understand that you can get fairly inexpensive lapel mics that are half decent that clock into your phone. It's not an expensive exercise. Just go down
they're $50. You can get a really good one.
Right.
Look, you can get that, but you don't have to have that. I mean, if your phone is in breathing distance from you, blowing distance from you, the microphone will pick up your sound. Speak clearly, articulately, loudly, you know.
Stay off the M1, get away from the trucks.
Indeed. They'll be able to hear you. So long as it's in a controlled environment where you don't have the birds and the trucks and the planes and children screaming and all the rest of it. So be aware of what the sound is around you. That's the first thing. The other thing is framing can be really simply fixed. Get the head at the top of the frame. Oh, and if you're using your phone, please use it in landscape mode, not in portrait mode. That's another problem. People shoot it in portrait mode, and then they put it up on YouTube and you got these big black bars on either side of it because it's meant to be widescreen. It's meant to be, you know, if you look at your computer screens, they're landscape, they're not
portrait.
And I have to explain this. I'm a Samsung person myself, but I have to explain it to iPhone people. You're actually able to rotate your phone 90 degrees. You just turn your wrist. It works. It's easy. You can do that. Push yourself outside your limits.
Yeah.
Try it. If you're using your own phone, frame it landscape. Get your head at the top of the frame. People often look through the frame, or if you're filming somebody on their behalf, and they put the face in the middle of the picture, and then they've got all this dead space above it. So get the head at the top of the frame. It fills the frame better. It looks better. And keep it steady when you're filming it, and make sure the light is on the person. It's not behind them so they become silhouetted and look like they're on some witness protection scheme. Which may not build the credibility you're looking for.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely some fantastic top tips there. Thank you so much. And of course, length. What's a good length? I mean, I don't know how long's a piece of string. What is it you're trying to say? But really, in your experience, are we down to 3 seconds for our attention? I know my children. Oh my goodness! I was trying to get my children to watch something educational on TV instead of their horrible tweeny things they're watching at the moment. So I said, go and watch some good dancing videos because they've just done ballet and I wanted them, be inspired. And my daughter literally picked up the remote control after about 15 seconds and switched to the next one. I went, oh my goodness, you have no attention span. And it was really, no, you watch it to the end. I had to dictate this to her. Ooh. Do you find that in the general population, or is it just children under 10?
Oh, no, I think they've probably got a better attention span than we do these days. I think, look, that's the challenge, and that's what our challenge when we're making our corporate videos for our clients is to maintain the interest throughout the whole video.
Without being shouty.
Well, yeah, it's hopefully being entertaining or intriguing or whatever it is so that they follow through and watch through the whole thing. I mean, you've got some great tools out there these days where you can actually track that and see if people are watching all the way through, where perhaps in the video they're dropping off. So maybe there's something there where you just lose them. So, okay, what's that look like? Do you need to fix that? Mm-hmm. It is a challenge. The duration, look, it's amazing how much information you can fit in a minute. We still talk about 1 to 2 minute videos with our clients. There is certainly space for longer form videos. If you're providing useful, relevant educational content, then you can extend it. And sometimes what you can do is you can make your short 30-second, 60-second teaser video, which addresses some of the key problems or issues that your viewer has, and that can then lead them to a longer form version so that they can get more information. So you can then pre-qualify people, and you can do that using online tools of Facebook where they can monitor who's watched it, and then they can retarget those people with the longer film videos.
Do you need to be a business in order to access that with Facebook? Do you have to have a business listing, or can you just do it off a personal one? Because a lot of people these days are doing their own, they're having a double profile. They're doing one profile for people and for themselves and for their personal life, and then another one for their business life. I, for one, have chosen not to do that. I think to myself that LinkedIn is the place for the professional profile, whereas Facebook is the place where you become McRanty pants and talk about politics and stuff, as the case may be. So I think that the differentiation is hard. You don't need to have necessarily a business account to have business insights in Facebook, do you?
No, I don't think so. I'd need to check that. I'm not sure.
Well, actually, you wouldn't, because people are using it all the time for their business profile and calling themselves a person so that they can access other features.
And we're in interesting times now because people want to connect with people, and you're able to position yourself as an expert in your field as a person. People are going to feel more comfortable dealing with you for your business. And I get a lot of referrals from people who, because I share a lot of content under my personal Facebook brand about video production, it just reminds people, I've got a great client with Woolworth because I'm a Facebook friend with the mother of a daughter of my daughter.
So it all adds up, really.
Yeah. And, because that's the complete picture of who I am. I'm not just, a dad or a partner. I'm not just a video producer, so it's all of that comes together for me in Facebook, and I just sort of stand at, yes, I don't like this sort of way of politics or whatever, and just say it and
hope for the best.
And go with it, yeah.
Look, we're going to take a quick break here on Small Biz Matters on Triple H 100.1 FM. When we come back after the break, we're going to be talking a little bit more about video content and using it in your small business, and really great ways that you can leverage it to maybe look at some sales and trying to, how do you use video content essentially in your marketing strategy? This is Small Biz Matters, the half-hour program where you work on your business rather than in it. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to Small Biz Matters, the half-hour program where you work on your business rather than in it. My name is Alexi Boyd, your trusted admin advisor, lover of all things small business, and a voice for small business in Hornsby and the Greater Sydney area. Today we are talking all about video content and the best way to utilise that for your small business. It's not just about, making a video and sticking it up somewhere and hoping that it sticks. Nowadays we've got all the possible ways of finding out how these videos are working for us. We've got the statistics with our websites, and make sure that you use them. So it's the same with any sort of advertising. Would you agree, Jeff, that when you put something up there, make sure that you've got the data coming back from it to find out whether or not it was successful?
Absolutely. And that's the conversation I'm having much more with my clients in terms of how do we measure the result of this? And that comes back to, well, what is the result? What are you looking for? What are you actually trying to achieve from this video? Because I often get people saying, oh, we want to make a video. And I go, okay, great. Why? And they go, oh, because other people have got one. It's like, yes, but what do you want? I got a call from the RTA once. This guy saying, I want to make a viral video. And I go, okay, right. Why?
Can I have a little bit more of a brief, please?
Yeah, he says, oh, so it'll go viral. I went, yes, but what's the purpose of it? Oh, it needs to be viral. And I'm thinking, okay.
You know what he's just thinking about? The Melbourne ad, 100 Ways to Die?
Well, maybe, but it was just, and anyway, eventually, I think he was a social media guy for the RTA and he wanted to get some runs on the board by having created a viral
so he was
video.
20.
Yeah, and I said, well, what's the key message you want in the video? I thought, let's go that angle. And he says, I want people to
click on it,
to know that they can renew their license at the RTA. And I'm thinking, where else are they going to do it? I mean, really? Is this where my tax money is going? It was an insane circular conversation. It was like, anyway. So
Did it go anywhere?
I couldn't get it motivated to get engaged with that. I came up with he had a terrible idea. I came up with a better one, and I just couldn't back it. I thought, I can't do this. This is just such a waste of time and money. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
So, yes, be a little bit more specific about what you're trying to achieve, I think would be helpful. Are you looking to attract sales? Do you want to increase brand awareness? Are you trying to educate your audience?
And when you yourself are doing it, or if you're engaging with a professional, these are the sort of things you have to have in your head before you start the conversation. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And I've spoken to clients who go, oh, we want to do this. And I said, I don't think video is the right process for you at this point.
Isn't that great to have it's great to have a consultant who's going to turn around to you and go, you know what, I'm the expert and this isn't for you.
Yeah, I had one guy who wanted to build his business and I said, well, where is it at? Oh, I'm just starting. I said, I think you should go to B&I. I think that would be a better use for you.
Or other networking groups.
Or other Hornsby
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Or whatever. But yeah, work out what stage you're at and what you're trying to achieve. So being clear on what the purpose is essential. The next step is knowing who your audience is. Who are you talking to? Because if someone says, it's suitable for everyone, it's like the message then gets watered down to this is going to resonate with no one.
So your questions are, is it business to business? Or are you talking to potential clients, or are you talking to the greater community because you're trying to educate them on something, perhaps?
But it needs to be so much more narrow than that. If it's business to business, what type of business are you talking to? What sector are they in? What price point are they at? Know who exactly, as specific as you can be. We did a video for one of our schools where they wanted to attract their families to come to a welcome day, because this was families who had a daughter in year 6 were coming to the next year. They knew if they could get them to the welcome day, they had more chance of getting them to follow through on their signing up. Because
so they had their analytics. They had that. They knew what they needed to do.
And they knew that there was this natural attrition that would happen where they'd go to other schools instead of coming to their school. They thought if we can create more of a bond with them and get them to this welcome day, we've got a much more chance of them coming on board. So they said, we want to make a video to these year 6 families that have expressed interest, to get them to come to the welcome day. And so that was a very specific audience. You're looking at 195 families. So we knew exactly what we were talking to. And I said, well, why don't we make it even more targeted? And she said, what do you mean? Why don't we address each video to each individual girl that's coming? So we personalised each video. So the first line was, hi, Amelia, we're really looking forward to seeing you on the welcome day. So and there was 135 different first names. So we made 135 different versions of these videos. Each family got the video, the first second mentions their daughter's name. So it was very targeted. And they got a massive, success from that. They got more people turning up. They got more enrolments, which over the lifetime of the school is worth millions and millions of dollars. So
do you suggest that's a really good technique for small businesses to do if they're really trying to narrow it down to... You can't really do that with video content that's going out there broadcast on big platforms. But I suppose if you're talking to someone directly, are you talking about embedding it in an email to a potential client or?
Sure. And people in this world of digital, automation and stuff, if you're able to cut through that and give something that's personalised, that's really going to stand out. That's really going to get people's attention so much more, and people are going to appreciate it. So if they got a personalised video from you saying, hey, look, I was looking at your website and I noticed this and this, and I was really impressed, and this is the service I can provide, and I wonder if you're open to talk about that. That's a great way to get someone's attention. They feel like you've actually taken the time to understand who they are. They're going to be much more engaged. So, and to include it in an email is easy. You put it up on a YouTube channel, which is pretty straightforward.
Everyone, I try and encourage all businesses to sit on a YouTube channel in your business's name, just as a way of grabbing, almost like a website. You grab a YouTube channel as well, because you never know where you're going to use it with your video content.
Yep, and it just, if you've got a Gmail account or a Google account, a minute, or it's already sitting there ready for you, but you can set up different channels with different names on them.
Yep.
And then if you include that link in the email, if they're using Gmail or Google Apps, it'll already be able to be played within the email.
So it's embedded.
Well, it's... Yeah,
wrong word. Sorry, that's my technical brain going.
No, but it is of sorts. It's a link, but Gmail and Google, because they're the same family, know it's a video, and it can play it straight within the email without them having to go into YouTube. Otherwise, they can click on the link and go to YouTube and watch it there. So, yeah, personalising in this day and age is really, really useful, really powerful. So that's where knowing your audience can really cut through the noise and have a big impact.
Now, you've got a couple of really fantastic links on resources on your website on sonicsite.com.au, which are really top tips on how to use video content in your business.
Yeah, so I've got a list of 30 types of videos you can make to build your business. So for a lot of people, they think, yeah, look, I know I should be using video. I know there's, everyone else is doing it, but I don't know where to start. So these are some real, whole lot of tips. One of the really popular one that I encourage everyone to use is a case study video. And it's not quite a testimonial, but it's a conversation you have with a client who's happy, who's had a great experience. And you can shoot this on your phone. If you've just finished providing a service, or you're just near the end of providing a service, it's gone really well, they're really happy, say to them, are you okay if I have a little quick chat to you about what the experience was like? And if they're happy, they go, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do something because I really appreciated it. You pick up your phone and you ask them 4 questions. What was the need? What was going on that caused you to have to enlist our services? What were the services we provided or the product we provided? How have those services or product helped your business now? How has that transformed it? So where are you at now? And what you're doing is you're taking the audience on a journey of what's happened. So it's not just like, I use, patio lamb because they're great. It's this is my journey I went on. And then the fourth question is, how do you now feel? You go, I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling wonderful. Because you want your audience, your prospective viewers to want that same outcome. And they can relate to the process then. So it's a really powerful sales tool, but it doesn't feel like one. It doesn't feel like you're being sold to. You feel like you're watching somebody's journey who's in the same situation you are, and you can relate to it. So that's a really powerful and simple video that everyone can easily make.
That's fantastic. And I noticed, just glancing over at the page there, you've got some other examples of actually typical websites, web pages that you might have within your website, like frequently asked questions. I think it's great to have someone standing in front of you. So a lot of people ask us this, and this is our answer, and it's a bit more personal. It's about that, making that connection with your potential clients, isn't it?
That's right. And what it also does is it smooths out your workload. If you're able to address a whole lot of issues without people having to ring up and hassle you about stuff, you can talk about the process of when they enlist your services. What happens? What can they expect? Well, this is how we work. This is what happens. Blah blah. And that gives people an opportunity to get comfortable with you, to manage their expectations. And so, there's a whole list here of 30 different types of videos, different sorts of things that you can...
we might pop a link onto the Small Biz Matters Facebook page for people to access that, because there's tons of information there that I can see.
But the other really important one is 30 ways to share your videos, because what the big mistake I see people making this day and age is that they make a great video, they put it on their website, bury it on page 5 somewhere. Nobody knows it's there. I come back after they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this great video, and I see on YouTube it's had like 20 views, and I'm thinking, well, what's the point? So it's really important that you have a strategy of how to get it out to the audience, how to get it out to the marketplace, and there are different ways you can do that. So I put this other list together of 30 different ways to share your videos so that you can really, and there's some really simple things like embedding it in your email signature. If you've got a video, you can have a link in your email signature. So every time you send an email out to somebody, there's a little video clip at the bottom of it. And 1 in 10, 3 in 10 will click on it and watch the video. So that's a whole other audience that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Oh, my brain's going a little bit fuzzy with ideas that I've got for my own business, actually. I really like that idea, that 1 in 10. You're not expecting everybody who's ever reading one of your video emails to do it.
But you're getting, you consider how many emails you're sending out a week. If, you're getting 1 in 10 that click on the video, that's more engagement. And it's just building up your connection with your market, with your community. What
do you say to the people who are listening to all this going, there is no way I can put my face with confidence and speak clearly and coherently, and I'm an introvert. I don't feel comfortable going in front of the camera. Does that mean that video as a marketing tool is out for my business?
Yes, unfortunately. No. No, not at all. There are plenty of ways and plenty of types of videos you can make that don't need a talking head, don't need you to be out the front. There's animations you can make. There's slideshows you can do with a voiceover. It could be yours, it could be somebody else's.
And you've got staff. I mean, you might have someone who's actually willing to speak on your behalf and be in the video. Some crazy kook who's quite comfortable talking to a microphone for an hour, for example. Someone who's just happy to just talk on your behalf, even a friend or a client, another client who's been happy, and you can just pop some questions in front of them.
Well, that's the thing. The clients people want to buy the outcome. And the outcome is not you, it's what you get at the end of the day. So the clients can talk much more articulately about that than you can, because they've achieved it, they've received it. So you don't have to, I totally get it. And some people really shouldn't be in front of the camera, quite frankly. And you're not doing your business any service by doing that. So, I've written a blog about that, 10 different videos you can make that you don't have to be in front of.
Okay, that's wonderful. And just give us a little bit more info about your particular website, so where people can find all these fantastic brochures and things.
Sure, yeah, it's sonicsite.com.au, SONICSIGHT. And yeah, just on the homepage, you can click on a download there. It just requires your email and a name. I'll send you a couple of other little emails. You can unsubscribe at any time. But there's some really useful. So the other list is 30 ways to maximise your video return on investment. So this is some ideas of just getting things right when you go through the whole process, because I see people do all sorts of things. They go out and they spend thousands of dollars on camera equipment before they've even started making the first video, and then it just gathers dust because it's all too hard. They don't know how to use it. They use it once and it's like, oh, I'm not going to go through that again. What I would recommend to people is just warm up to it, step by step. Start with your phone. Phone's a $1,000 piece of camera equipment. Let's not, ignore that fact. And they are very good. So there's a lot of ways you can use your phone to start with. If you need something more professional and you want to do it yourself, if you want to go down that path, then rent to start with. Spend a few $100s rather than thousands of dollars on some equipment, and then see, of that, if you find you're doing it sort of every month or every week, well, yeah, you get to a point then when you want to invest in some equipment. But I think long and hard before I go and buy new equipment, and I'm using it every week.
Yeah, on a professional scale as well. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Really go slow is my advice there.
And learn those analytics as well. I think that's important to see who's clicking on them, how long are the videos being watched for, at what point are people disengaging, should you be aiming for a different length of video or a different type of video, and just explore the different options.
And ultimately be clear on, well, what is the real measurable outcome? Is it somebody making a phone call? Is it them downloading something? Is it visiting your website? What are you wanting them to do from watching that video? And that is really the measurement you want to be keeping an eye on.
You should have that thought in your head when you're doing any sort of marketing or advertising as well. It's something that we often forget about as small businesses, that we're just satisfied when the job's actually done, not what the purpose of it is.
And I think that's when you're really clear on what you're trying to achieve. That's when it simplifies the whole process, because you think, right, this is all I want to do. I think it can get blurry when you're not really focused on what you're doing. And that's like I was talking before about my niching. Now that I know where I'm getting the great return on investment from my marketing, it makes it much easier for me to be clear on what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and how much I'm going to spend on it.
Awesome. Look, today's show has been jam-packed full of information. Thank you so much for joining us today on Triple H 100.1 FM, Jeff. It's been an absolute pleasure, Alexi. And, of course, if you want to find out more information about Jeff Anderson and all the work that he does and all the information and knowledge that he gives out there. Oh, by the way, tell us what's the name of your book and where it's available. My book is called Shoot Me Now, Making Videos to Boost Business. You can get it on the Sonic Site website. You can also find it at jeffanderson.com.au. Fantastic. And look, thank you very much for empowering our small business listeners with all of this fantastic knowledge today. My pleasure. You've been listening to Triple H 100.1 FM. You can, of course, check out all of the blogs and podcasts on the smallbizmatters.com.au website, where we've got over 100 blogs and podcasts to listen to, soon to be coming on a more accessible podcast. All right, I'll say it, iTunes, for everyone out there to access. So keep an eye on our website for that. And, of course, if you've got any empowering knowledge you'd like to share with our listeners, get in touch via the Small Biz Matters Australia Facebook page or send us an email. You've been listening to Small Biz Matters, of course, because I've said it about 100 times. This is Triple H 100.1 FM. We'll see you all next week.